ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's debate. My name is Charlotte Suter and I am the chairman, and Reshma Shiju is the timekeeper. The adjudicator is Miss Chor. The topic for this debate is that dumpster diving should be discouraged. The affirmative team seated to my right is from Pembroke School. The negative team seated to my left is from St Mary's College. The speaking time for this debate is 5 minutes. A single warning bell will sound 1 minute before the speaking time, and a double bell will sound at the speaking time. A continuous bell may be rung 30 seconds after the speaking time, in which case the speaker must sit down immediately. Please ensure that your mobile phones and other electronic devices are switched off. I declare this debate open and call upon the first affirmative speaker, Cindy Shee.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that dumpster diving should be discouraged. We define dumpsters as large commercial, residential, industrial or construction containers used to store waste, as sourced from Cambridge Dictionary. We define dumpster diving as the salvaging of items discarded by their owners but deemed useful to the pickers from dumpsters. We define should as an obligation to, and discouraged as disapproved of and preferably prevented. Therefore, we interpret the topic as an obligation to offer no support of the salvaging of items from large containers. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is true. Tonight, as first speaker, I'll be talking to you about how dumpster diving presents a variety of health risks, as well as how scavenging through waste is an unpurposeful thing to do, where the long-term costs outweigh the immediate benefits. Our second speaker will be talking about how dumpster diving is an unethical practice in terms of the grey areas of law, and we'll also discuss the wrongful exposure of confidential information that dumpster diving will induce. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. My first point is that dumpster diving should be discouraged because huge health risks are tied into this concept of going through rubbish to find items including food and clothes. It worries public health officials and particularly members in the food safety field. Jim Chan, Manager of Health Safety at Toronto Public Health, cautions that for all items found in dumpsters, there must be a reason why people throw them out. Public health consultant Carla Esco adds that dumpster diving is a very risky thing because we really don't know what's in that garbage. It poses many dangerous health risks, including minor injuries such as cuts and scrapes from nails, knives, glass, and other sharp objects. This expands onto major injuries such as becoming ill from bacteria bred in the dumpsters and getting infected skin from chemicals and pesticides. Only this year, a man in the US suffered terrible injuries and near death after dumpster diving, according to the Times. His arms were stabbed by heroin needles discarded in the bin, and his body became numb following this painful ordeal. Food acquired from dumpsters, which is likely to be expired or infested with unsanitary things such as maggots, rodents, or bacteria in general, is definitely not safe to consume. Even washing food cannot eliminate all germs that will cause potentially fatal sicknesses such as norovirus and salmonella, says food sanitation analyst Robert Tealfield. The risk of these illnesses and injuries does not compensate for the concept of free items from dumpsters. This is why it is crucial that dumpster diving should be discouraged. My second point is that dumpster diving has no long-term purpose as it encourages complacency in social and environmental issues. Those who dumpster dive are generally either those who are forced to for a living or those who are voluntarily doing it for a cause. The first group of people are those that experience homelessness, financial issues, or unemployment. For these people, dumpster diving further separates class divide that is already very large by insinuating that lower statuses have to eat and dress from the discarded remains of wealthier people. By not encouraging dumpster diving, it means that we are encouraging people to not look for better solutions for poverty and the increasing wealth gap. The second group of people, or freegans, dumpster dive because they think it is better for the environment in terms of limiting material wastage. However, one of the more practical solutions to this is not saving remains of food thrown into dumpsters, but focusing more on changing consumer mindset. Companies, as well as us, should be forced to accept that things such as food are not all perfect and will have small blemishes and can still be eaten. To save the environment, we should not be saving what has already been thrown out, but actually preventing it from going to the dumpster in the first place. Companies such as Oz Harvest and Food Bank are already taking edible food from companies that are left over or perhaps do not meet beauty standards and distributing them among people in need. According to the Weekly, they donate around 850 tonnes of food per week. This gets rid of the unnecessary support to dumpster dive. It accomplishes both goals. Food waste is reduced and people in poverty have access to food. Therefore, dumpster diving should be discouraged, as its effect is limiting us from social and environmental progression rather than the opposite. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we the Affirmative team believe that dumpster diving should be discouraged because of the significant health risks posed. There is more risk than reward. This is an activity that is having an adverse social and environmental advancement effect. Dumpster diving should be discouraged. Thank you.
I call upon the first negative speaker in this section.
Good evening, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that dumpster diving should be discouraged. We, the negative team, strongly disagree with the statement. We agree with the affirmative team's definition, however we don't agree with their perspective on the topic. Before I start, I'd like to state some obvious faults in the affirmative team's case. The first speaker for the affirmative team has raised the point that dumpster diving is an extremely dangerous activity which can result in injuries, illnesses and possibly death. However, they are completely oblivious to the fact that these occurrences are extremely rare, with multiple medical professionals, health inspectors and spokespeople for healthcare associations stating that they have never had a dumpster diving incident that has translated into important health problems. There is currently no conclusive evidence that the risks associated with dumpster diving incidents can actually lead to important and serious health problems. And a health inspector of 30 years states, "I don't believe anything has come across my desk or from a database that there has been somebody who ate food from a dumpster and became ill." Tonight, as third speaker, I will prove that dumpster diving should not be discouraged by discussing how it reduces household and retail food waste and also how it reduces landfill. Our second speaker, Ella, will further prove that dumpster diving should not be discouraged by discussing the cost benefits of dumpster diving and how it creates a sense of community. Our third and final speaker, Laura, will rebut and summarise our team's case to leave absolutely no doubt in your minds, ladies and gentlemen, that dumpster diving should not be discouraged. Now to my first point. We've heard the old saying that one person's trash is another person's treasure. However, the concept of how much pure quantity of garbage Australia produces every year is incomprehensible to thousands of individuals. You may simply find the idea of diving face first into dumpsters, recycling containers and trash bins disconcerting. However, dumpster diving is not illegal and should not be frowned upon by society for the countless positive benefits that it has on our environment. During war times, people would delight in scarce potato peelings for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Unlike overfed toddlers these days, children during the war got soup and potato peelings, and food was never thrown out. If bread was stale, it'd be toasted, made into breadcrumbs, or frozen for later use. But in today's throwaway society, according to ABC News, each year Australian households throw out $8 billion worth of edible food, which means that, on average, each Australian household is throwing out almost $1,100 worth of food, which is equivalent to 1 in 5 bags of groceries purchased by an average Australian. The food that is wasted and thrown away is costing the Australian economy $20 billion a year. In fact, according to Food and Agriculture Organisation, if food waste were a country, it would be the third largest emitter of carbon dioxide in the world, behind China and the USA. According to ABC News, about 3 years of dumpster diving will save at least $15,000 worth of food. Food waste in our country isn't helped by large retail companies who are forced to throw out perfectly fine food just because they are no longer attractive to sell or because their shelf date has expired. Foodwise estimated that 20 to 40% of fruit and vegetables are dismissed before they even reach the supermarket shelves. This is due to strict rules on how food should appear. We, as consumers, should be willing to adjust our expectations of perfect produce. Now, to my second point. Dumpster divers can reduce food waste that ends up in landfill. By dumpster diving, we can not only save quality food from being wasted, but it will stop it from becoming into landfill. According to Clean Up Australia, the amount of waste that hits landfill in Australia every year is enough to cover the entire state of Victoria, with the average Australian producing 1.5 tonnes of waste each year, which goes to landfill. According to John Newton, a research scientist from the UK, has stated that landfill pollutes soil and waters with toxin and also produces and releases greenhouse gases, all of which contributes to climate change and possible health problems to humans and animals. A dumpster diver told an interviewer that he believes it's their task right now to keep educating individuals about their food, not just about food waste, but where it comes from. It's no wonder that if people completely comprehend how their food is grown, they prevent buying hideous fruits and vegetables. That disconnection to our kitchen and the source of food contributes to the waste and helps promote business procedures that may not always be the best for the environment. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the negative team, believe that dumpster diving should not be discouraged as it reduces waste, minimises landfill, and produces an alternative to food waste embedded in everyday business models.
I call upon the second affirmative speaker, Alexander Lee.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that dumpster diving should be discouraged. We, the affirmative team, undoubtedly believe that this statement is true. The first negative speaker has stated that dumpster diving reduces food waste. However, this is only a temporary solution as the issue will only return, and people should instead be thinking about prevention rather than a makeshift solution of waste. They have also tried to tell you that dumpster diving will save money. Although this may be true, the decrease in quality of food does not compensate for this. It is also not guaranteed that there will be a steady supply of food. Our first speaker has discussed the health and safety risks involved without discouraging dumpster diving. Tonight, I'll be highlighting the ethical issues surrounding dumpster diving in regards to the law, as well as how wrongful intentions can arise from the exposure of confidential information. Dumpster diving should be discouraged, as it is unethical for a person to claim items from a dumpster due to the laws that may be broken. Dumpsters are usually situated on private premises, since the owners of the waste discard it there. By collecting that rubbish, it can be considered trespassing in those particular cases. The Australian Summary Offences Act of Criminal Trespass states that a person must not enter into or remain in someone's house or yard or business premises without their permission, and this law is sustained through similar terms around the world. Rob Greenfield, an experienced dumpster diver, states that it is often seen that better items are located in private property, and that dumpster divers usually go during the dark, because in some cases they need to jump over fences as well as break locks to enter these dumpsters. Not only is this ethically wrong in the approach of the waste salvage, but trespassing and attempting not to get caught is also highly immoral. Chuck Klosterman in the New York Times states that the majority of local and major businesses are primarily against dumpster diving because it happens on private property, and diving constitutes trespassing, as well as the liability risks involved for them in the unknown distribution of their products. It is unprincipled not to discourage an operation that is unclear in terms of legality, as there are too many risks in breakage of law in both the producers and consumers of items in the dumpster. According to an article on the Victorian Government website, even though dumpster diving itself is not technically illegal, there are multiple other laws that dumpster divers may be breaking. Altered Beauty, a major company, states that they strongly discourage the sometimes illegal practice of dumpster diving because they are disposing of their products for the personal safety of consumers, which comply with applicable laws, rules and regulations. If breakage of law is occurring without full realisation or getting caught, this means that it goes heavily against the ethical and moral ideals of integrity and consideration. Thus, the discouragement of dumpster diving is vital to prevent the unethical practice in potentially breaking various laws. In addition to this, wrongful intentions can result due to the invasion of privacy that occurs in dumpster diving. Dumpsters often contain discarded items with personal or confidential information inscribed. Lars Einer, the author of On Dumpster Diving in the New England Journal of Public Policy, states that dumpsters contain junk mail, bank statements, bills, correspondence, social security numbers, and other documents, just as anyone might expect. But there are also less obvious sources of information. Pill bottles, for example. The labels of pill bottles contain the name of the patient, doctor, and drug. By not discouraging the sifting through a dumpster that contains confidential and personal information, it will allow more hackers, criminals, or anyone the opportunity to find this information easily. The sensitive information can then be used for wrongful intentions such as identity theft, tax fraud, healthcare fraud, and many other identity frauds, which could cause immense damage to the victim. Identity theft in dumpster diving is not only a threat to the consumers, but also a threat to businesses and organisations. The book 7 Deadliest Social Network Attacks highlights this, and states that Jonah Hanek Nelson, a 30-year-old man in Sacramento, California, was responsible for stealing more than 500 identities through dumpster diving at a nearby Wells Fargo bank. In 2005, the Layton UT City Council passed an ordinance outlawing dumpster diving. The Associated Press reported at the time that the measure was taken into consideration as a way to help prevent identity theft. Not discouraging dumpster diving will only limit the prevention in occurrence of wrongful intentions from finding classified information. Hence, to prevent people from the suffrage of financial losses, identity theft, and other confidential related crimes, dumpster diving should definitely be discouraged. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we, the Affirmative team, believe that dumpster diving should be discouraged due to the unethicality as well as the risk of confidential safety. Thank you.
negative speaker Ella South.
Good evening, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that dumpster diving should be discouraged. We, the negative team, disagree with this statement. Tonight I will be discussing how dumpster diving can save people money as well as being an effective way to make money. I will also discuss how these dumpsters create a sense of community and provides the ability to share resources with others. This is to leave no doubt in your minds, ladies and gentlemen, that dumpster diving should not be discouraged. Before I begin, I'd like to point out some of the flaws made by the opposing team's arguments. The first affirmative speaker has tried to tell you that dumpster diving is unhygienic. However, this is false. When dumpster diving, there are many ways to clean the items found and ways to keep yourself clean. Things can be set in place while dumpster diving to ensure you are completely hygienic. According to Instructables.com, you can wear long pants and enclosed shoes while dumpster diving to be hygienic. Just because you are keeping your body hygienic doesn't mean you can't keep the found items hygienic. There are numerous ways to ensure that things are clean. A simple way to clean things is by washing them. The first affirmative speaker has stated that dumpster diving is just for derelicts. Although underprivileged may dumpster dive, it can also be for people who do it for fun or a way to find valuable items. Many people find dumpster diving as a hobby for their spare time. I will further discuss this in my speech. The second affirmative speaker has said that dumpsters do not provide enough food for people. This is wrong, as one dumpster diver has shown his full weekly meal plan provided by dumpster diving, according to thedailydoc.com. Now to my first point. According to thedailydoc.com, dumpster diving can save people money. An example of a person who has achieved this success is Matt Maloney, who according to dailydoc.com pulls in $250,000 every year by refurbishing furniture and other such items by dumpster diving. After all, ladies and gentlemen, another person's trash is another person's treasure. Another example of how money is earned through dumpster diving is a person named Emily, who gains money by restoring roadside dumpster finds where she spruces them up and sells them. So far, she has made over $1,000 doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, with South Australia's electricity rates being one of the highest in the world, in fact, according to electricityandgas.com, South Australian households are paying on average anywhere between $1,500 to $2,300 each power bill, which is 10 times more than other countries such as Canada. People are struggling to afford basic necessities like food, let alone pay bills such as water, gas and electricity. Dumpster diving would be an ideal way for many families to save money. According to abcnews.com, we live in a society which encourages us to spend money we don't have. As a result, Australia's private debt is one of the largest in the world. All we need is interest rates to go up or a downturn in real estate to see many more families struggle to live daily. Another way dumpster diving is advantageous is by saving money. An example of this is Emily, once again, and she used to spend $124 on groceries, but due to dumpster diving, the only groceries she has had to buy are the essentials, which aren't normally common in dumpster diving, which are milk, sugar, salt and flour. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, dumpster divers should not be discouraged. For my final point, dumpster diving can be considered as a hobby for some. It is a great way to share enjoyment with others and to give freely. It can be a bonding task you do with friends or even a regular thing you do alone. Dumpster diving is very good fitness training and can be a form of exercise. An example of this is carrying heavy bags and cycling as many kilometres as you want while looking for exciting opportunities. According to Camila Pereira, writer for the ABC, several expressed a feel-good and fun dimension to the activity. Acquiring unpredictable finds creates a sense of novelty and surprise, and a feeling the rewards were worked for. They mirror more traditional shopping habits like treasure hunting or the thrill of finding a bargain. This can build a sense of community with others. An example of someone who has developed a hobby with friends is once again Emily, as she has met people while dumpster diving and now has become a tradition for her and her new group of friends. Other dumpster divers are motivated by the emotional bonds they form as a group. This group of people commonly share food and describe themselves as a community of free food people. This further proves why dumpster diving should not be discouraged. In conclusion, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, dumpster diving should not be discouraged due to the money it can provide, bonding experience with friends, and how participating in this activity can provide a sense of community and lifelong hobbies. Dumpster diving should not be discouraged.
I call upon the third affirmative speaker, Yilin Gao.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that dumpster diving should be discouraged. We, the Affirmative team, undoubtedly believe that this is true. Before I summarise my team's case, I would first like to address some flaws in the opposition's arguments. The first negative speaker has attempted to say that there is no conclusive evidence that there have been people with health problems due to dumpster diving. As Dr. Chan from the Ottawa Hospital cautions, the lack of reporting or shortage of studies upon it does not mean that people do not become ill or injured from the trash. According to him, most people who become sick from dumpster diving do not seek medical attention at first, as they do not want to disclose information that they're eating food from bins. What we do know is that through intensive research, there has been proven to be bacteria within dumpsters that breed and manifest with human bodies after consumption. The opposition has tried to say that sicknesses from these bins are extremely rare. Salmonella from bad foods are very common. The first negative speaker has also tried to say that the dumpster diving allows recycling, reusing of otherwise waste. As our first speaker has said, the food waste problem does not stem from the fact that not enough people are dumpster diving, but rather the attitude that retailers and consumers have towards disfigured, blemished or bruised foods. Dumpster diving is a perfect example of a broken system looking for momentary relief. In some cases, it will give businesses a false impression that they can continue to throw away edible food, as there will be people cleaning up after them. The first negative speaker has also said that we can encourage dumpster diving and to try to find the root of the problem. It lies in the fact that if we encourage dumpster diving while trying to find a long-term alternative solution, people will automatically take part in a temporary one that requires less effort and thought. The truth is, people naturally do not want to find the blame in themselves, or their thinking as consumer types, and if there's any way out, they will look for the easier one. Therefore, we need to discourage dumpster diving to show that to society there is no simple solution. The second negative speaker has tried to explain
that people can use other methods to stay hygienic within dumpsters. However, even if someone's willing to go to that amount of effort, there are other risks that cannot be ignored. According to USA Today, just in November 2018, a Michigan woman died from suffocating in 5 feet of trash while dumpster diving in a Goodwill store. Though it may seem extreme as well, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, just this May, a man dumpster diving was fatally crushed alive by a garbage collection truck. No amount of protective clothing can avoid these kind of safety issues. The second negative speaker has also tried to say that dumpster diving saves money. Dumpsters, unlike supermarkets, do not guarantee certain foods, nor does it guarantee a continuous supply. Take this for example. If you wanted milk, but you could not find any while dumpster diving, where would you get it anyway? The supermarket. Inconsistent food source means inconsistent saving of money. A few dollars is not worth it to risk yourself, your health, and your safety. Also, for the fun point, there are many other things that can be considered fun by those who partake, even illegal activities. Being fun does not make it any better or less safe. Our first speaker spoke to you about how dumpster diving requires a person to immerse themselves within the contents of the dumpster, and how that action can produce dire consequences to their health. This ranges from coming into contact with bacteria-bred products, consuming unsanitary foods which have been exposed to matter such as feces and pesticides. These actions can cause life-threatening diseases such as Salmonella, Staphylococcus, and Shigella. Our second speaker also explained how it's largely unethical to discourage an act when it's often directly linked to crimes such as trespassing, unknown distribution of foods, and jumping fences and breaking locks. On top of this, it is worthwhile to note that this dumpster diving is in fact prohibited in some countries such as Germany for a reason. Her second point was that encouraging dumpster diving only further fails to address the already immense divide between the social classes, and fails to escalate the pace of slow research regarding rapidly increasing environmental problems, partially caused by the excessive wastage of food. Therefore, without the discouragement of dumpster diving, we would choose to settle rather than seek. She has also explained how shifting through contents when some contain highly personal information is immoral. In some cases, it can lead to strangers accessing your funds in your bank account. Clearly, it is essential that dumpster diving be discouraged before further victims suffer from such losses. Therefore, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, our team is certain that dumpster diving should be discouraged, as it can cause consequences in both health and safety aspects and has no real benefit in the grand scheme of things. As well as this, not discouraging actions which have unknown legal conditions along with the risk of identity theft is immoral. Thank you. speaker, Laura Akers.
Good evening, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate tonight is that dumpster diving should be discouraged. We as a negative team believe that this statement to be false. Before I start, I would like to state the obvious flaws in the affirmative team's case. The first affirmative speaker has raised a point that dumpster diving is extremely dangerous activity, which can result in injuries, illnesses and possibly death. However, they are completely oblivious to the fact that these occurrences are extremely rare, with multiple medical professionals, health inspectors and spokespeople for health care associations stating that they have never had a dumpster diving incident that has translated into important health problems. There is currently no conclusive evidence that the risk associated with dumpster diving incidents can actually lead to important and serious health problems. A health inspector for 30 years states, "I don't believe anything has come across my desk from a database that there has been somebody who ate food from a dumpster and became ill." We have to take in consideration that all emergency departments, doctors' offices, walk-in clinics and other health facilities is expected to report any cases of food-borne illness and their origins to public health. Ottawa Public Health spokesperson Eric Leclerc has also stated that they have never received any health complaints or concerns about dumpster diving, and that is definitely not at the front of the line of public health concerns. Other organisations that have also said they had no information or public statements about the risks of dumpster diving include Canadian Health Care Association, the Canadian Public Health Care Association and the Canadian Association of Emergency. This is why dumpster diving does not lead to serious health problems. The first speaker for the affirmative team has also said that dumpster diving is a way of obtaining illegal information. However, there should be no reasonable expectation of privacy in trash. Trade secrets or confidential information in the trash is a discernible form is not legally protected. We have to take in consideration that in our modern society, an individual would more likely obtain confidential information by hacking rather than salvaging through someone's trash. Every year, hackers expose 110 million people, which is nearly half of the nation's adults. This is why dumpster diving cannot be associated with spying and obtaining illegal information. The second affirmative speaker has said that dumpster diving is illegal. This statement is completely false. According to wastedaily.com, dumpster diving is not legal here in Australia. When dumpster diving, it is possible to break some laws such as disorderly conduct, trespassing and littering, but doesn't everybody in their day-to-day life? For example, when you drive, you could possibly go over the speed limit or could even jaywalk. Just because there are possible laws that could be broken whilst dumpster diving, it means that dumpster diving in here is not illegal. After all, if a person dumpster dives properly and is aware of the laws and does not violate any of them, they are fine. Even if there are countries that say dumpster diving is illegal, what does this have to do with the laws in Australia and dumpster diving? The second affirmative speaker has stated that dumpster diving can cause confidential information to be found. However, this statement could be true in some cases, but it is only the person who threw their personal details in the dumpster's fault. With all people who dumpster dive, their intent is not to find personal information. It is to find valuable items such as food. Now, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that according to the Huffington Post, there are no specific laws under dumpster diving in Australia? This means that whoever threw the personal information into the dumpster should have a better understanding of the laws here in Australia, and there are no clear cases of identity theft caused by dumpster diving. The third speaker for the affirmative team has raised a point that dumpster diving is a financial loss for businesses through the potential of an injury or wrongful death. However, they can make this assumption if there is no conclusive evidence that dumpster diving incidents can actually lead to important and serious health problems. The third speaker for the affirmative team has stated that divers can experience salmonella. However, many interviews with divers have revealed that they are cautious with their decisions and do not eat items where their packaging is broken. The third speaker has also said that salmonella is also common in foods. This is some raw foods like eggs and chicken, but is someone who is dumpster diving really going to eat these uncooked meats? And if these foods are touched, there are many hygienic ways to prevent them from getting sick. Now to sum up my team's case, our first speaker, Emma, has said that dumpster diving should not be discouraged by stating that dumpster diving can reduce household and retail waste and talking about how it can lessen landfill because each year Australia produces 1.5 tonnes of waste each year. Our second speaker, Ella, has stated that dumpster diving can help people save money and creates a sense of community by having dumpster diving as a hobby. Now, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, our team believes that dumpster diving should not be discouraged.